Yeah, the rich taxing the rich. That's, oh man, that's one of these things, like tax the rich and everything will be great, and we will, be able to fund all these things like universal health care and whatnot. But oh, man, people, why do so many people not like to pay taxes? Think of that. Because the government is so inefficient and there's such fraudulent fraudsters. And, you'd be like, where's my money actually going? So that's number one. Number two is the top 25% of taxpayers pay 87% of taxes. And the lower 50% of income of earners only pay 3% of the taxes. So we have a very, very progressive tax code that the lower 50% of earners only pay 3% of the total taxes. You think that's not fair? That sounds pretty fair to me. The unfair thing and the problem is not our tax revenue. We don't need more money. We do not. We need better spending. You know that there are things when in government contracts, they overpay for items, crazy amount, 100% fold amounts, like 900% markups on things like chairs or toilet seats or coffee makers. There was a coffee maker. There's like some very famous examples, but there was a coffee maker for $7,400. Like you can get $30 coffee makers. There was a hammer they paid for $435, and there's a ladder they paid $70,000 for. That's just examples, but those are not that crazy outliers. Companies get, like, oftentimes contracts get out with like crazy markups compared to average. So when it comes to hardware, it's up to 500% that they pay on top. When it comes to commercial software licenses, 20 to 100% higher. When it comes to office furniture, like that's oftentimes 100 to 900% markup. So the government is super ineffective in spending. It is, and this is from government oversight bodies, these numbers that I have. Those are not partisan third source numbers that I'm going to tell you now. So there's 186 billion a year in improper payments, meaning like markups and all that. And 233 to 500 billion dollars of estimated fraud losses. I'm just saying, Mr. Tim Walsh, California, Leering Center, all that good stuff. NGOs getting paid out to basically do nothing. Government contracts, with products priced hundreds of percents above market rates. That is our problem. We would have so much more money if we wouldn't have that much fraud and markups to, basically pay back funding for political races. Guess why these big companies pay some guys millions of dollars for their political races? Because they know they will get it back. They will get some nice contracts or some regulations or some tax incentives like lowerings. It is bad. It is more corruption than anything. And you want to give these people more money to spend it to like nonsense things. Like a lot of government contracts and initiatives and institutions and a lot of these governmental programs are completely ineffective. And this inefficiency, that is our problem. Corruption, fraud, inefficiency. That is the problem of our government spending and of our government. And we don't need more tax revenue. We don't. And if we have more tax revenue, get where it's going to go. It's not going to go directly where it should. if you want to help poor people, it's better to to do something yourself than give it to the government, because they're not going to be as effective as you. They're not. If you want to do good, then don't advocate for higher taxes. Yeah, build something. Build something. A good organization that's really nonprofit, that's really trying to help people, and that's really being effective. So building a company and building a product that people actually need will be way more beneficial to this country than any tax dollar. Any. Because you give people jobs, a future, purpose, income. They won't have to rely on the state. They won't have to take out of the system, but pay into the system. So that way you pay taxes anyways, indirectly. Way better than raising taxes. And a lot of people in government have never been in the economy. They don't know, and they don't care. All they want is power. And even if they don't, they're probably just bad at doing what they want to achieve. They don't know how to achieve what they would like to see in the world. That's also one thing. The opposing side is not always the enemy. They're just dumb sometimes, and they don't know how to do it. It's not that they are always evil and they want to destroy the country. They just don't understand humans and economy. And so they live in their la la land. They think everyone from a certain group is good and everyone from a certain group is bad. And probably turns out there's the same amount of good people in that group than in that group. Like, your skin color doesn't make you better or worse. You know, amongst Mexicans, there's probably the same amount of bad people as amongst whites, as amongst blacks. But for one side of the country, at least, they see it differently. They think white people are inherently bad or worse than blacks and than Mexicans and whatever, anything else. White people bad. I think all people are the same, and they probably are, genetically predisposed to the same degree to become bad. And in DNA, you can't even tell the skin color of someone. So, that's about that.